Hello and welcome to The Fourth Wave, a podcast named after the fourth wave of feminism that aims to inspire, empower, inform, and celebrate the woman of today. Each episode, we will give you strategies and ideas for living a life as your most empowered self. This week, we will talk about the importance of having a hobby, how to find your passion in life, and turn it into a business and a trick that always leaves us feeling powerful and able to take on the day. I'm Mirtha Michelle, a best-selling author and poet. I'm your host and co-founder of The Fourth Wave, and I'm here in Los Angeles, still sick. And I'm alongside co-founder Jamie Barada.
That's me, Jamie Barada, an entertainment and fashion attorney living in Los Angeles. Okay, before I leave, I have to give you, I have like these tricks for getting better, quick, like really fast. And they're all natural, and I know that they're going to help you get over whatever it is that you have.
Thank you. You're such a good friend. So guys, by now you may have noticed that we like to start off our show by sharing strategies that help us feel a sense of empowerment in our daily lives, things that work for us and hopefully can work for you too. And we love it most when these strategies and tips actually come from our followers. So please write to us with what works for you at info@theivywave.com, or you can DM us on Instagram or Twitter at @theivywave. This week, our Try This at Home has to do with picking up a new hobby and why it is so important to have something outside of work. So Jamie, how did you go about finding some of your hobbies?
Okay. I think that, first of all, I hate the word hobby because it sounds so corny,
Sounds so childish.
But I don't know what else to call it. But yeah, having an outlet, something you enjoy doing outside of work. So I guess a way that I've found some of my hobbies would be a good way for people who don't know where to start is like, I used to go when I first moved to New York. I would go to newsstands and pick up Time Out magazine.
They have that for LA as well, and digital.
Yeah, and
well.
Blogs, and like I'm dating myself. I would pick
so
up
important
the
to do
newsstand. But yeah, and I would go to Time Out New York, and it was also a great way to. So it's a great way to learn a new city, a great way to learn about yourself.
That's how I actually found out about the rooftop cinema.
Oh, really?
Yeah, through Time Out magazine, yeah.
And I would just go through, and anything that sounded interesting to me or that I gravitated towards, I would, circle. So it would be like samba night at this club or it would be, a pottery class here, or, that's the nice thing about that magazine in particular.
And you love to try new restaurants.
Yep. Restaurants would be in there. So yeah, actually I hadn't even thought about that. Like trying restaurants is like my hobby. It's like one of my most favorite things to do. But yeah, if you don't know where to start, I would totally recommend that.
I love that that's one of her favorite things to do because she always gives me good recommendations. So I don't have to be the guinea pig. She's a guinea pig when it comes to trying out new restaurants.
Yeah, that's definitely, as an adult, and obviously you need to have some income, when I was younger, I couldn't be like, oh, let me go to this, new amazing restaurant. I was like eating falafel around the corner from NYU, but now I can. So that's definitely like I would say that's my biggest hobby. Every week I like to try out a new restaurant, and I'll go, the blog I like for that is Eater LA, but yeah, other than that, I would say, yeah, go through blogs, go through magazines, and just whatever jumps out at you. That way you don't have to like do the thinking. It's like, oh, there it is. Does that interest me? Does that move me?
And I think also just jot it down.
Mm-hmm.
Something comes to mind or someone shares an experience, jot it down and actually go ahead and doing it. I think the most important thing of finding a hobby is actually being proactive.
Yeah.
I think so many times people want to try things, they want to do things, but they actually don't go ahead and do it.
Yeah. And you have to write it down and you have to try it, because if you don't, you have no idea if it's something you would enjoy or not. So it could be something that you never thought you would like to do, like a samba or salsa class, and then you take it and it might be your hobby for the next few years. What about you? What are like some of your hobbies, Martha?
I'm an artist, so I think I'm drawn to everything that's artistic. I love to draw, for example. I love to draw with charcoal, and I just love to see like what I can come up with. And I'm not trained. I mean, I've taken some art classes since I was a kid. I actually always, when I was a little girl, I wanted to be a painter. That's
Me
what
too.
I wanted to,
Well, I can't. I'm
that's
not
what-
good at painting.
That's what I wanted to be. And then an uncle of mine told me, "Oh, you're gonna be broke," because artists don't get paid. And I still became an artist, just a
You have
different type
some-
of an artist.
You have some paintings in your apartment.
Yeah, some
Of yours.
stuff I've painted and stuff. And I'm actually, my hobby for the summer is to frame a lot of my drawings. I want to find really nice frames, and in a wall, I want to frame them all, and I actually want to gift a few of them to my friends. I think
Yeah.
that's a really nice kind of gesture.
Yeah. No, that's a great hobby to have. But again, yeah, it's like
But I also like, I love going hiking. I like doing outdoorsy things.
right. Yeah, it doesn't
not
have to
not
just be
like
creative.
camping, but but I love going on a nice hike and feeling active.
Yeah, it's important. Like the same way people will tell you, oh, it's really important to get some exercise in. You know, it's a great stress reliever. It's a great outlet. It's the same thing with finding a hobby, something, that's outside of your career or how you spend the majority of your day.
I like brunching. Brunching is a hobby too. I'm kidding. So let us know if you tried this at home. Take time to find a new hobby. Go through newspapers, go through blogs, and find something that gravitates towards you. And let us know if it helps you feel a sense of empowerment in your daily lives. You can get in touch on Twitter, drop us an email at info@theivywave.com, or go to theivywave.com for contact info, links, and everything else related to this podcast.
Okay. So this week we want to touch on the importance of finding your passion in life. And I think it was a nice intro starting with talking about hobbies, because a lot of times these are areas that we're passionate about as well.
And sometimes hobbies turn into careers.
Right.
A lot of times people ask me, how do I go about finding my passion in life? How is it that I can turn this certain art into an income? And first of all, I think we're pretty lucky because we grew up with parents that actually motivated us to find our passion in life. Not everyone is as lucky. Sometimes people are just taught, go to college and get a job because you have to pay bills. And sometimes people end up being a little miserable because they're not happy doing what they're doing. I have a friend of mine actually that she when she started college, she took on a career that she never eventually practiced. She graduated and she never practiced it. And I asked her, well, why did you study this?
And you took on a major.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she said, well, because it's probably going to get me a job. It was
Right.
computer related.
Right.
And it was around that time that the rise of technology, and she never took a job in it. And now she went back to school
Right.
to study what she always originally wanted to study.
Right.
So she went back to fulfill her lifelong dream of being a television producer. So that's why I say it's so important to just go for what you want.
Yeah.
It's never too late, but
Yeah.
just go for what you want, and you have to do what makes you happy.
And you're right though, a lot of people struggle with figuring out what it is that they're interested in, because yes, maybe they grew up in a household where it was never encouraged, or just society also doesn't really tell us to pursue, to make a career out of your passions necessarily, because that's not the way, the academic system is structured. It's like you take these core classes for until you're 18 years old. Your curriculum is set for you. So it's like a lot of times when people will get to college, they have no, like you said, like they have no idea what they want to major in because they've never had the freedom to decide or choose what classes, they were going to be taking. And
and it's also at that age, you don't know yourself most of the time. So it's hard to choose what you want to work in and what field you want to work in for the rest of your life.
Right. And so that's why it's good to explore, I guess. So if someone was to ask, how do you find your passion? I would say like the same thing with finding your hobby. Just explore yourself, dabble in a little bit of everything.
Until something sticks out.
Right.
Until something is like, wow, okay, I'm really content doing this every single day.
Right. Like this fulfills me. This excites me. This makes me, excited about my day. Don't be one of those people that's like always hopping from one career to the next. Like you have to, learn when it's time to move on and when it's time to be like consistent with something. But
you have to be consistent because if not, you're never going to see the actual fruits of it.
That is one thing though I liked, and I don't believe that everyone needs to go to college. But one thing I did like about it was that with internships, and you can get an internship without being in college, but I think internships are a great way to learn what you're passionate about because it's a time where you can like fake have a career.
An experiment.
Yeah, like I did that in college, and I was living in New York, so it was nice because there was so many opportunities in different areas, and not every city has that. But like one internship I had was at Ralph Lauren, and then one I had was at a record label, and I got to kind of figure out, oh, do I like this? Do I like this industry? And they were both areas that interested me, but I couldn't decide like which one I wanted to pursue as a career.
And you were able to have a first look.
Yeah. So I think like internships are super important. If you're trying to figure out, how to make a career out of something that you're passionate about, or just going back to the basics. Like I always like to tell people to do a free write, like kind of how we used to do in first and second grade, where your teacher put down a piece of paper in front of you, and it was that exercise where you just wrote down whatever came to mind and like for 10 minutes. And, it's therapeutic and it's kind of like journal writing. But if you tailor that free write to what are things that interest me, what are things that bring me happiness, like what are companies that I think are cool, and you're just kind of doing a free write, just like writing out like, Nike, Vogue, running. At the end of that free write, you'll take you'll look at that piece of paper and you'll find things that connect. Like you'll find a common thread.
Like a brainstorm.
Yeah.
You're brainstorming.
Mm-hmm. I think if you can't figure out where to start at all, that's a good place to start, just like with yourself. How did you, Martha, though? Like you're passionate about poetry and writing. It's like one of your passions in life. And it
was a hobby.
It was a hobby, right? Something that wasn't bringing in income. You were doing on the side for pleasure.
Well, yeah, I've been writing my entire life since I was a kid. It was a cathartic way of me releasing certain emotions. To be honest, since I was a little girl, I always felt that I was going to publish a book. It was always a goal of mine. So I can't say that I thought, oh, I'm going to turn this into a career, right. Those exact words. But I always knew that I was going to publish a book. And my first book, it was my third attempt. And I had written 2 previous books before that. And I think it was just the right time. but I did it more as an art project, and I got pretty lucky as, the success that came with Letters to the Men I Have Loved, because I wasn't expecting it.
Right.
And I just did it as an art project, and it worked out, and I was able to continue
Yeah.
the momentum.
Yeah, people really responded to it
People
like
responded
crazy.
to it.
Everyone loved it.
But I can say that I was strategic. It wasn't just that I wrote a book and I put it out and that's it. I was very strategic. I tried to use all my attained knowledge and different things that I had done in my life, and I tried to use all the knowledge for the release of this book. For example, I dabbled briefly in clothes production. So that same idea of producing clothes, I took the same idea to producing the book because I was self-publishing, right? So that same attitude, I took it into producing my book. You have to, in fashion, you have to outsource materials. You have to hire different people to do patterns, to do the sewing. So for my book, I realized that I needed different people. So I had to hire an illustrator. I had to hire a graphic designer. I had to put the book together. I had to produce the book. So I learned from a previous experience how to produce, and I took it on to that next experience.
Right.
Then when it came into marketing and promoting the book, when just from acting, I had met different people that I'm blessed to know, and I used that knowledge of certain things those people had advised me with for my acting career. I kind of took the same advice for my writing career. And some of those people were also very supportive when it came, when I released my book. So I feel like everything in life falls into place. You just have to have the right attitude.
Right. Yeah, that's
And it's
really
very
good advice.
possible that you can have different passions and they all collide at one point to create something very special. And I think that's what happened to me. And to our listeners, some of you guys are very young, and I don't want you to be discouraged. I'm 33, so it took some time. It took some time. I released Letters to Men I Have Loved when I was 30, and it took some time. So it took some time for me to figure out certain things that I wanted to do. It's all about trying.
Yeah. And it's not...
You try it, and you see if it works for you or if it doesn't.
Right. And making a career out of your passion is not the conventional route. So it's going to take more time, and it's going to require more effort because a lot of the times there's no blueprint for how to make it happen.
So sometimes you will make many mistakes.
Right. And you're laying down the blueprint for, yourself and for other people. But I would say that it's definitely, I think it's like, this is a belief that you and I both have to pursue your passions, and if you can incorporate them into your career. There's that saying, like, find a job that you love and you'll never have to work a day in your life. I really would be so miserable and I know the feelings, I've been there, like having a job where it's not connected to any of my passions, and it's just you're like clocking in and clocking out, and then you feel like your only time for yourself is on the weekend or...
I mean, I've been there too.
Yeah.
It sucks.
So I think that it's worth it to take the hard route and find your passion, pursue your passion, and if you're
I also
lucky
think
enough,
it's important to be proactive.
Yeah.
It's not just wanting something. Actually get up and try to make it happen. And like that, you don't have any what ifs.
Right.
I think it's so important. You wanna be a director? Well, nowadays you can use your iPhone and you can shoot a short.
That's the thing.
So it's all about being proactive.
Today, this is like the time, if there was any other to create whatever career it is that you want to create. There are literally job titles today that, we had never heard about 5 years ago. You can literally create a career out of anything today. And it's actually the most amazing thing to witness. And it's so inspiring to see people we have so many friends that are, they've made careers out of
hobbies.
Yeah. And it always inspires me so much. So yeah, I would really encourage everyone to do that.
So every episode, we leave you with a little self-empowerment booster that we use in our personal lives. They will be simple and straightforward. My personal booster I want to share this week is that I mentioned this earlier in the episode. Mm-hmm. I love to draw, with charcoal. Sometimes I'll drink some wine and I'll just sit down and I fall into another little world, another little creative world. Because to be honest, when you turn already one hobby into a profession, into a business, sometimes you need to replace it.
Yeah, you
right?
need an outlet.
You need an outlet. So for me, drawing is one of those.
Until she becomes a professional painter.
Until I become a professional painter and I start selling my paintings. Just kidding.
But I like that. That's it's like super therapeutic.
Yeah, so the personal booster is definitely create an outlet in which you take time for yourself. And for me, it's drawing. For you guys, it could be something else. But and just time for yourself. And so I hope you guys learned something this episode. And let us know if you tried it at home and if it worked for you. And by the way, if you come up with any nice drawings, shoot us a photo.
Us know. That would be amazing. Let us know what new hobbies you guys pick up, and we want to hear from you. So you can get in touch with us. Murtha's on Instagram at Murtha Michelle, and I'm Jamie_Barada. Our email address is info@theivywave.com. Send us your comments and feedback. Until next time, I'm Jamie Barada.
And I'm Murtha Michelle.
Thanks for joining us.
Till next time.